Good afternoon. Seth Little here with Jeffords Anthony Law Firm in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I wanted to talk to you today about side hustles. We're getting into the summer. Some of y'all may be starting some side gigs, maybe doing a route with Uber Eats, maybe some driving with Uber. Maybe you're making things on one of these websites like Etsy and selling it online. Maybe you're just giving lessons on the side and dance or baseball or something like that and taking payments via Venmo or Cash App. A lot of y'all are probably doing this and not really thinking of the tax consequences. I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. With the new tax regulations and some of the new enforcement mechanisms that the IRS is doing these last few years, what you need to know is that if you're taking payments through apps like Uber Eats, Grubhub, or if you're taking payments via Cash App or Venmo, if it's anything over $400, the IRS is probably going to find out about it. It's something you're going to have to report, especially with Cash App or Venmo. Some of y'all have probably seen that the IRS is getting information from these companies for anybody that's gotten more than $400 sent to them on these apps. They're sending off these 1099s to you. They're sending off the 1099s to the IRS. So the IRS is going to know about it. If you're getting a 1099 from one of these apps, just know that they're sending that same 1099 to the IRS. And if those 1099s don't match up with your tax return, then that's going to more than likely trigger an audit. If you make $5,000 doing baseball lessons on the side and you take money via Venmo, you're going to get a 1099 from Venmo showing everything that you've gotten. Venmo is going to send that same 1099 to the IRS. So when you go and report your taxes, if that $5,000 is not on there, then that's going to trigger a problem and they're going to start looking further into everything else, and it's just going to cause a huge headache. Remember, if you're taking money on these apps, you need to report it because the IRS is going to know about it anyway. They're going to get the documents from these companies, so you might as well report it yourself. Number two thing you need to know, if you are taking money on these apps, if you are doing services on the side with Uber, something like that, not only do you have to worry about income taxes on that money, but you got to worry about self-employment taxes on that money, which is a little over 15%. So like I said earlier, if you make $10,000 doing one of these side hustles, 15% of that is going to go towards self-employment taxes. So that's approximately $1,500 that you're going to have to pay in addition to the income tax. So what can you do to maybe soften the blow a little bit on these taxes? Number one, you're going to have to report it. Gone are the days where you can do these little side gigs and maybe the IRS doesn't know about them. So what can you do to minimize the impact of having to pay both the income taxes and the self-employment taxes? One of the main things you can do is look at some of the deductions. There's a lot of things that you can deduct doing some of these side gigs. For example, if you're driving an Uber or an Uber Eats route, you can deduct your mileage. If you've got to do any maintenance on your vehicle, you can deduct any maintenance you do on your vehicle. There's several things that you can do to deduct those expenses. Any ordinary business expense, any expense that you have in doing these side gigs. So if you're buying materials for some of the things that you make on Etsy that you sell online, then that's deductible. There's several deductions that you can make out there that you may not know about that will soften the blow on the taxes that you owe in the end. Last thing we need to talk about is if you do report everything, if you do get that tax bill, or if you've already gotten that tax bill and maybe it's a little bit more than what you thought, maybe you didn't know about the self-employment taxes, or maybe you just didn't know how much the tax burden was going to be. There are options to handle that. There are installment agreements you can get in with the IRS. There are offering compromise that you can get in with the IRS where maybe you pay a lump sum, but maybe not as much as you owe. You can come to an agreement to pay less than what you owe. We cover that in other videos. Look at our channel, look at our other videos. We talk about offers and compromise, payment plans, things you can do to soften the blow for that tax bill. Thanks for dropping in. Take a look at our other tax videos and look for our next videos later this week.